Well, welcome to the Y'all Need Music podcast. I'm Matt, and today I'm flying solo. Jesse is not here, but I am joined by special guest Susan Melton. She is a program director and DJ at Big Country 102.9.
Woohoo!
How are you doing
Among
tonight,
other
Susan?
things. Hi,
Yeah,
how's it
right.
going? It is nice to be here.
Yeah, Susan, we've crossed paths many times over the years. Obviously,
Yeah,
she knows I'm a concert junkie.
yes, coming up on 14 years in August. So I'm pretty sure we met the first year I was here working at the station. So we've known each other
Yeah,
that long now. Hard to
right.
believe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and been to several of the same shows, and I'm usually chasing you down on live broadcasts, trying to win more concert tickets as if I don't go to enough already.
There's no such thing as too many concerts, and you know that.
Amen. I mean,
You,
if I could get everyone else in my life on board with that philosophy, it would be such a better place for me.
yeah, there's nothing like live music, especially good live music. When you catch it, you're like, God, it just lifts you up,
Right.
fills your
And
soul.
and for that's how I am. Like I feel the least amount of stress in my life at a live show.
Yeah.
Whether it's big, whether it's small, it doesn't matter. I literally can feel like my body just go
Chill. Yes, I'm so chill. The only thing that it's the getting in and the getting out that stresses me these days. I'm just not big into the crowd pushing thing. I like the smaller venues and the more intimate shows, but yeah, there's nothing like live music. Nothing at
right.
all.
Yeah, no, and that's if Jesse was here, he'd be saying the same thing. Like we love those smaller venues. Like Odawa is great for shows there. Even like that, small to mid level intersection or machine shop in Flint. To me, are great venues where you can still go see a good show that's not crazy packed like a Ford Field show would be.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely crazy.
Right. And
Been a while, but I remember.
my biggest problem with those shows is if I'm going to a concert, I'm not sitting in the 300s where I've got to have binoculars to see the show. The
Mhm.
problem is if you want to sit on the floor where you're going to see the show really well, it drains the bank account real quick.
Real fast. And
Yeah.
it's crazy expensive how I mean, I would love to go to the George Strait Chris Stapleton show, but dang,
Yeah.
even the 300 seats are, a couple $100. I'm like, yeah, I love them, seen them both, so I'm good. I would like to go, but it's all good.
Yeah, see, and George Strait's a bucket list for me, and I've not seen him, and so it's really difficult. I almost scratched the idea of Faster Horses because when those dates came out, Faster Horses dates hadn't been confirmed yet,
Yeah.
and so it was like, do I? And it's like, man, all of our friends go to Faster Horses. We've got to continue that tradition, and now that they're opposite weekends, I'm like okay, can I sell my body and make an extra a
What can
grand?
I
So
do to raise a
right,
little extra cash? Yeah.
I need $500 per seat because I want to sit on the floor if I'm going to do it. So if you see me standing on a street corner somewhere, don't judge
The
me.
sign, need tickets.
Right?
Any amount will help.
Yeah, I'll be showing some leg. I don't care.
Whatever you gotta do.
So
Yeah, George putting out a new album too. I just heard today. That's awesome.
yeah, I had a friend at the show in Indianapolis when they made that announcement, and it was like, what?
Yeah, right. Because it has been a hot minute since he's released new music. So
Right.
country music is just, in my opinion, and I've been doing this for a while now. I think is just exploded with some great sounds and a
Yes.
lot of even like George Strait, putting out new albums, but then all the new people just continually putting out good stuff that is just fun to listen to.
Yeah, and I think that I mean, no dig on radio at all, but I do think that the streaming side of the industry is part of what's driving this constant new music instead of
Absolutely.
waiting, a year or two for a new album to drop. You've got like every other month, singles coming out.
Yeah, you're right with that because they just have been releasing single after single after, and then the popularity of it grows so fast, and then that becomes like, and then there's another one, and then and
Yeah,
then they don't even end up releasing an album, or they release an album way down the line and it's got all those songs on it,
yeah.
but
12,
so
12
many
singles
artists are just
later.
doing the singles,
Yeah.
and it works for them. So yeah,
So speaking of older artists putting out new music, I'm sure you probably heard about Randy Travis.
yes.
So, what's your take on that?
You know what? I feel like because it was done with his permission, using his, they tracked up, all kinds of different vocal
Right,
pitches and whatever songs of him singing and whatever, that it was, mostly him. I'm okay with it. But it's when they steal, when they're trying to, make you think this is the new Lainey Wilson or the new Kenny Chesney or whoever, and it's not. I don't like that at all. That's scary to me.
right.
And there's
Yeah,
people out there doing that, saying this
absolutely.
is so and so and trying to make money off of it or whatever. I don't like that part of it. But if it's
Yeah.
with the artist's permission, I don't really have a problem with it.
See, and for me, I would even take it one step further, right? We can't actually get new music from Randy Travis.
Right.
After his
Yes.
stroke, it's just not an option. And so I feel like in that instance, to me it's okay. If you're still capable of recording music, I feel like it would be a crummy thing to do to put out AI generated music. If you're Luke Combs and you've just been touring like crazy and you're really tired and you're like, nah, I don't feel like doing the studio
Yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah, that's
and I'm
no,
gonna
that I don't you're right. I'm not down with that either. It's just that's lazy.
right,
If you have the capability to do it and you're using AI to do it, I think that's lazy. But if
yeah,
you don't, like in Randy's case, and still have the music in you that you want to get out,
right.
then I think it's perfectly fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you, for me, I still get a ton of joy whenever somebody else is doing, a cover and he's sitting there and you can just see it in his face.
Yeah.
Like
He just
he's
glows. I
yeah,
mean,
he's
really,
loving
he
it. And then
does.
when he gets in that, little amen,
Yeah.
just that alone it just fills me with joy because
It gave me
I
goosebumps
know
just having you do that.
right. I just
But I feel
love
it.
I love that about him because that that reinforces to me that music kind of transcends everything, that even though he can't, speak to have a full conversation, everything, those wheels are still turning in
Yep.
there and he's still getting that same joy that I know I get from music. And you see it written all over his face and in his eyes, and
Yeah.
I just love it.
It is. It's very cool, and that song is really good. I mean, it's
Yeah.
really good. Yeah.
It's definitely trippy though, right? To hear
Yes,
a new Randy Travis song and you're
and
like,
it is beautifully. Yes,
wait a
you're right.
minute,
It is a little
how
bit
is
knowing that. Yeah, but I'm all for it if the artist is involved, then why not? As long as
right?
again, it's not a lazy thing. I just don't feel like it today. I'm calling it in. No,
Yeah, yeah, we're
no,
not going to do some Milli Vanilli stuff with AI.
no.
Right?
Right? Oh my gosh, that dates just a little bit.
Yeah, if Jesse was here, he'd be telling you how old I am. So I'll throw that out there that
Oh,
I'm
I'm older than
I'm the
you, so
old guy.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm older than Jesse barely, but he loves on the podcast to talk like I'm just ancient compared to him.
yeah.
So I'll give him his own little dig, even though he's not here. I'm the ancient one. Jesse's the young one, but clearly the old guy is healthy enough to do the podcast today.
There
So
you go. You got it going on.
right. So a little bit about you. You've been in radio since what, 87?
86.
86. Okay.
Yes, 86. And there was a year or two where I wasn't in radio. I had a baby, whatever, was out of it for a while. And then when she was like 2, I think I got back in. Then there was a very short stint after I got let go from a job that we won't discuss. That was a very bad point in my life, and was totally out of radio for like 2 years. And then things clicked and I was able to get back in, and here I am. It was this job that brought me back in. So Yeah.
Nice. And
Yeah.
I know from being at events where you have been that and on social media, like I is there another DJ anywhere, at least in this area, that is loved more than you are by so
Oh,
many?
like I can answer that question. I mean, I appreciate it totally. It's awesome, awesome to me that I have made friends with so many people that I've met through listening to the radio station, including
Right.
you and Megan and all your friends. And I consider my friends.
Yeah,
We're like a
absolutely.
little family now of just people who love country music. And yeah, it warms my heart. It really does.
I think that country music has just that ability to kind of make people family. For Jesse and I, people that meet us now think that him and I have been friends for years, and it hasn't even been 3 years that I've known the guy.
Oh, see, I didn't know
Uh,
that it was just 3 years.
yeah,
Yeah,
we we met
I
at
was doing
Faster
the same
Horses.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I mean, we hit it off. I had some friends that weren't going, and we've got a cluster of 4 sites at the time. It's now grown to 6, but um, people weren't going, and it was like, can you try and sell these? And I did to this other couple, Todd and Jessica, that we're friends with as well, and they were friends with Jesse and Tasha, and we met the first day and just clicked, and it was like, where have you been all my life? We're like best friends now.
There's nothing like bonding over good music. There really, when you love the same kind of music, it's easy to bond with somebody. And I love country music, and I appreciate all the people that listen to the radio station. I really do. It makes it my job a lot more fun. That's for sure.
Right. So, in your history in radio, has it always been country music, or has there been other
It
genres?
has been country music. Okay, first it was not. I worked at a little AM station. It was a classic, like an oldies station. And then it was country for a little while. And then it was top 40. And I worked at a rock station for a long time. And then it was another top 40 oldies sort of station. And then it was country. Then it's always been country since then. So
Okay.
um, that's what I love. And they always say, well, if you're a DJ, you should be able to work at whatever format you're in, which, yes, given that's technically true, but when you love the format you're in, I think that transcends through to people that listen.
Right.
I really do love country music. I love listening to it. I love playing it. I love talking about it. I love going to the shows. So, it is my first choice of music, but I also love blues and I love classic rock. And there's very few things that I don't like musically. I'm just a music person, and
Hmm.
country is definitely number one for me.
Yeah. Well, I think it makes it more authentic. You probably don't know this about me, but I actually worked at a top 40 station
No,
years ago. Yeah, I did.
I
Uh,
didn't know. No, I had no idea.
Yeah,
No.
up here too. Um, so yeah, I worked at a station on the south side of town.
Okay. No way. How
Yep.
long ago was that?
Oh, geez, it would have been right around 2000,
So I would have been
2000.
up here. I don't remember. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't remember. How long were you there? Did you go
About it.
by your name?
Same first name, different last name.
Okay. No,
Yep.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
Is there any way we can pause for a second?
Yeah.
My
Absolutely.
daughter is supposed to be going to Europe and she's been trying to call me for like 5 minutes. So I'm
Okay.
afraid something's wrong. Hello? Oh no. So
So,
I
I was
had
saying
no
that.
idea you were in radio. Let's go
Yeah.
back to that real quick. So no
Right.
idea you were in radio. How long were you in it and why did you stop being in it?
About a year and a half, and I just I don't like top 40 music,
Oh,
and to sit there and like, oh, I'm going to introduce the thong song, and all of this other music that uh to me just wasn't good music.
yeah.
It just, there was no real passion. I loved doing, remote stuff, that was always fun to just interact with people because I love interacting with people in general.
Mm.
But it just wasn't something that I really had a heart for.
Yeah, that and it makes a difference, I think, if you're passionate about the music, if you're passionate about the artist, then it comes through. I really feel
Right.
that, for me anyways.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely the truth, and I think that there's authenticity that goes with that when people know, somebody comes up and wants to talk top 40 music with me. It's kind of like me going to a winery and you asking me what the best wine is. I don't know. I don't drink
Right.
wine. Hand me a
Yeah.
glass of whiskey and we can talk whiskey, but I can't talk to you about wine because I don't like wine.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Does make a big difference, I think. Yeah. But I do love
Yeah,
country music. I love it.
yeah. So in country radio, you've I know from seeing on social media in the past, you go to like a conference down in Nashville with other country radio people.
But it's a St. Jude. It's for St. Jude because we're a St. Jude radio station. We do the radiothon every year, and that's what I go down there for. It's a seminar to tell you about the new technologies and the advancements they've made, and you just learn about all the new things that are going on, and kind of reinforces all the things you already know because we've been doing this for so many years. But and then they bring country artists in to do the same thing because there's a lot of country artists that are very supportive of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, and so they come at the
Yeah,
same time. And sometimes we get to see performances and do fun things with the artists. But that's basically what that's about. I've only been to
nice.
Nashville once, one time. I was working at a different country station, and I don't even know how many years ago, and it was that was a country radio seminar, so it was all country radio programmers, and it was all about the music. And oh my gosh, it was very cool. I mean, it was very cool. But that was so many
Yeah.
years ago. I'd love to be able to go back.
You should. It's not the same place. I mean, I've been going to Nashville for years.
Hmm.
We go every year, at least once on a vacation to Tennessee, and we usually split it part of the time, in some remote area for Megan because she doesn't like people in crowds,
Hmm.
and then part of it in Nashville because I love people and
In
crowds and
Gross.
and live music. So, we'll do like the Smokies, or we've done Watts Bar Lake and just rented a cabin and just sit on the porch and drink coffee and do nothing for a few days, maybe go see some waterfalls or, some sites like that, but really kind of avoid the touristy type of things for half of
Hmm.
it. And then spend the rest in Nashville. And I could spend days and weeks and months and years just going from venue to venue listening to live
Yeah.
music.
I mean that would be pretty freaking awesome. Yeah, because you've had a chance to see a lot of people that I've never seen, and it's very cool that you get to do that. And even some up and coming,
Right.
artists. You never know. You never know who you're going to catch, which is the fun part about being there.
Right. Yeah, that was probably the coolest thing about CMA Fest last year was just kind of the unknown, surprises that you were going to get there.
Mm.
And Nashville's like that in general. Anyway, we've not been lucky enough. I mean, I've been pissed several times actually. Like, uh, you know, I don't run into Morgan Wallen or Luke Bryan in, Aldean's bar or something, where these
Right.
guys hang out. And I've got a pretty good eye for artists. I follow music really closely. And so I don't care what kind of hat you put on to try and hide yourself or like fit in. Like, I'm going to see you and be like, ooh, I know who that is. How can I finagle a way to go meet them?
Yeah,
but
you're pretty good at it too. I got to admit, you're pretty good at it.
I have landed some great meet and greet opportunities over the years.
Yeah.
All of my friends seem to think that I have some magic luck with that. And I chalk it up to I don't care. If they say no, what am I
What's
out?
yeah, exactly. You're not out
Nothing. But
anything.
if
Yeah.
they say yes, I can meet him. I can get an autograph, picture, something, sit and talk to him, ask him questions or whatever.
Yeah.
And if they say, hey, sorry, I'm busy, I got stuff to do. Like, okay, cool, have a good one. No big deal. But
Right.
uh,
Yeah.
if you don't ask, the answer is always no, and
Exactly.
I'm willing to
And
ask.
a
So,
lot of them, especially the newer, the up and coming artists, are really more than giving to say, sure. I remember
right.
when the first time I was in Nashville, Brad Paisley had just sort of started, breaking out, and he was so thankful that I stopped. I was so excited to meet him and talk to him and whatever. He was so genuinely thankful. Just, thank you. Thank you for liking my music. Thank you for being a fan. He was just so genuinely nice about it.
Yeah.
Then, then there was the other instance I had, and we were with a radio, whatever. I don't even remember what company it was, but they were doing a showcase and whatnot, and Kenny Chesney was there. Well, I was, this was back in the beginning of his meteor rise. Anyways, I was super excited and I wanted to meet him, but his handler was really mean to me. And I was like, dude, I said, just because I'm in, because he was like, this is not CMA Fest or something like that. And I said, well, I'm sorry, but I am a fan of country music. Even though, I'm in country radio, I'm still a fan of country. And Kenny was super
Right.
nice. He pushed the guy back. He goes, sorry about him. It's all good. He had a picture, did an autograph, and he was super nice about it. Now I probably couldn't get near him, but I
Right.
thought that was really, most of the artists that I've come across have been super giving and very nice.
Yeah. Well, I've always looked at it. I've had a few that were not so nice, and I won't name drop. One in particular, though, I met another time and was night and day different. And I chalk it up to we're all human beings,
Yeah,
right? Some days I have bad days, and I want to be left alone. And just because you love their music or whatever doesn't mean that they're not entitled to have a bad day too. Now, if I
right.
met you 3 or 4 times and you're a jerk every time,
Then
I'm
you're
gonna
like,
start
"You're
thinking that maybe
fine."
you're a jerk.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I haven't met, there have been one or two where I was like, wow, that was kind of rude. Or, they didn't really seem to even give a two, shits about what was going on or anything. They're
Right.
going through the motions basically. But I can imagine on their end though, they're like doing this night after night, day after day, and meeting people and signing things and taking pictures, and it probably gets exhausting.
Oh,
So you got to
yeah,
cut
I
them
could
some
never
slack.
do it.
No,
I could
me
never do it.
neither.
I'd
No,
I'd be
not with the
like,
schedules they have to keep up all the time.
yeah,
No.
just leave me alone. Can I have some time for myself?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, but at the same time, like to me, you have artists. I'll use Tyler Hubbard as an example.
Hmm.
All right. I am not the biggest fan of Tyler Hubbard's music. It's not bad. It's just
Right.
not my favorite. He jumped on my level of respect so much last year at CMA Fest, where the artists pulled into the area by fanfare and would get out of their vehicle, and there's those like metal concert gates around the sidewalk
Mhm.
to like keep people back. And most artists would hit like a spot and then they'd move 20 foot down, they hit a spot, sign some autographs, take a couple pictures, jump 20, 30 feet down here, and they'd do like 4 or 5 stops and they'd go inside. This guy literally took a picture and signed an autograph for every single person around that fence. And I'm sitting there watching him and I'm like, this is a dude that gets it.
Mhm.
And really appreciates his fans. And I don't know if you've seen what he's doing on social media with hiding tickets for his shows.
I have not seen that at all. No.
So every show he's been doing, he's been hiding. I'm pretty sure he's been with Kane Brown, and he's been hiding tickets, and then he'll put it on his Instagram and show like a street sign, and then like a planter box, and then ask people, whoever finds this, like tag me in it, and it's tickets for the show that night. And then he's got people going around the stadiums and like, hey, where are your tickets at? And uh, how would you like to come down to the pit? Compliments of Tyler Hubbard. And he's like exchanging tickets out with people. And I'm just like, God, yeah, this is what to me it's really about is
Yes,
understanding that without the fans, you're nobody. You're not anything different than you or I are, right?
right.
And the only reason
You're a
that they're
musician. You're a
right,
musician, but
the
yeah,
only reason they're up there and making that kind of money and living that kind of life is because one, you're playing their music on radio, and two, I'm consuming their music, on radio or streaming or buying their albums or whatever as a fan. And some seem to get it more than others. And I know from my perspective, that just ratchets you up in my book on how much I like you. If I like your songs at like a 6 or a 7, but you're great at
super
interacting with
nice.
your
Yeah,
fans, you're
yeah,
going to move up to a 9 all of a sudden just from your behavior.
yeah, exactly. And it does make a difference, a big difference, I think.
Yeah. So uh moving on, I did want to kind of talk with you a little bit about the country radio side of things, right? Because with the podcast, obviously, we've had some artists on, which we're going to continue to do, but we also want to have other people in the industry on and kind of give other fans a little bit more insight than they maybe otherwise would. You and I have had tons of interactions, but not everyone does.
Right.
Some people just, like turn on the radio and there's music there and it's like magic, happening through their speakers. But there's a lot that goes into creating a station and having music and so wanted to kind of talk a little bit about that and what drives songs to you in country radio. Is it more the labels that kind of push stuff to you guys? Is it more
For
fan
us, and,
driven?
and I consider myself to be lucky because for like the corporate radio, they are fed, a lot of stuff that they then have, well, whatever, I don't know, that they have to play or choose to play because they want whatever. We have several different layers of how we get our music, and we do have a consultant. We do, but we do music reach outs, how we do our surveys.
Yep.
Those really make a difference. I know people are probably like, you guys don't pay attention to what we're saying. Yes, we do. I mean, it's weighted for sure,
Yep.
but it's everything. It's record sales, it's record streaming, it is um the TikTok factor now is one of the big things, that you can get your music anywhere. So there's so many options out there. We have to have some sort of sieve to kind of go, okay, we can't play everything, which I wish we could because there's a lot of stuff that we're not playing that I wish we were playing, but it's not totally up to me. Even
Right.
as the program director, I don't get to just sit here and go, well, we're going to play this, this, and this because I like it. What if you don't like it? What if
Right.
you don't like it? What if you don't like it? So there has to be some sort of checks and balances. And we have quite a few, which is great because we're not taking it all from just one place. Like, okay, this is the chart for this week because these are the radio stations that are playing this. So we should follow what all these radio stations that are what in this market, but doesn't work in this market. So
Yeah.
that's, a lot of things that I don't know that people even are aware of or understand a lot of how that goes. And then it's like, okay, this song is number one streamer, number one YouTube, number one, whatever, whatever across the board. And we're not playing it. What's up with that? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you got to kind of go with the popular, but you also want to make sure you're getting in some of the newer, some of the unknown. That's why I do the on the horizon because
Hmm.
I hear stuff that I, pretty sure, not pretty sure. Sometimes I'm good and I get one that I know is just going to go. And then there's other times where I'll play it because it sounded good to me. I think it fits the radio station, but it's an unknown artist who has no airplay, no record label. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the hardest part. There's so many independent artists out there, but I feel like you got to at least let people that don't have access to all of those other venues or avenues of hearing music, you have to at least give them a little taste of something else to
Yeah.
see, expand their horizons a little bit, as it were. So there's a lot of different factors that go into the music that gets played.
Yeah, well, I know for me, listening to music, obviously, I listen to big country. Uh, that's no surprise. But I also will listen to, I've got Sirius XM, and so sometimes I'll listen to the highway. But I do a ton of listening to music, especially at night. Megan goes to bed way before I do, and I'll just sit on TikTok and look for new artists that I've
Hmm.
not seen before, and I'm just flipping through, and when I hear a sound, it's like, all right, let's stop and listen to this one for a minute, and
See what else they got. What else are
if
they
they're
offering
good,
up?
yeah, then I'm like, well, let me see what else they've got on their TikTok, and okay, now I'm going to follow this person because I want to hear more of what they've got.
Yeah.
But it seems like there's also just as much of like the auto tuning bullshit on TikTok too, and I hear it as soon as I get to somebody's video. I'm flipping, and I'm like, that's not a natural sound. Goodbye. I'm not even going to
Yeah.
give you the time of day
Yeah.
if I know that
Good ear.
you're
Good
distorting
ear.
your voice right from the get go, because that's fake to me. And when I like somebody, I'm going to find a way to see them in concert.
Right. And there's nothing worse than hearing on the radio this sound and going to a show and hearing this sound, and you're like, hmm, it's not
Yeah.
quite as good. Sometimes you're surprised and it's better though, which is
Yes.
awesome because you get that live energy, but sometimes it's not. So you just, yeah. I
Yeah.
find it all over.
Fortunately, I think there's probably been two country artists that I recall in the last 10, 15 years that seeing them live was a disappointment.
Hmm.
And I'll always give them a second shot, because I know, just like everyone, I have bad days at work too.
Yep.
And if I give you a second shot and you still sound pretty terrible live, I now it's like, okay, you didn't have two bad days the both times I went to see you.
Yeah.
I'm going to pass on going to see you again. But I won't badmouth them, right? Because they're still
Yeah.
doing something that takes an incredibly tremendous amount of talent and time, and I still have
Passion
respect for
and
what they
effort. Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Give them
well,
a
that's
chance and they can either let you down or you keep following them. That's all you can do, you
right.
know? But
Well,
there's so many options out there.
they're really, and like I said, when you can make that connection, I know you and I have talked about Sam Grow before,
Oh, yeah.
um,
I can't
and
wait to see him.
oh, it's going to be so incredible.
Yeah.
Uh, he's another one where I give that, he's already a solid, 9 in my book anyway. But
Hmm.
when you hear him talk about his fans, and I don't know if you've ever heard any interviews that he's done or anything, but he refers to his fans as family.
Hmm.
He said, I don't have fans, I got family. He says, when you're doing something, you're creating something, your family is who supports you. And he says, people that are buying my music and coming to my shows, they're supporting me in this dream. And that's what your family's supposed to do. So they're
Yeah.
family to me. They're not fans. And it's like, oh,
That's the way I
I
feel
love
about people
you.
that listen. I
Right.
swear, that's the way I feel about people that listen to the radio station. They're family, not fan. They're just, they're part of the magic that, we get to do every day. And I am so thankful for that. I totally am with him on that. Family
Yeah.
is all about it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
country music, though. I mean, it's hard not to feel that way because that's kind of what country music's all about.
Right. Well, and I seen here, I believe it was last week. I'm horrible with time, just like I am with names. So it could have been more than a week ago, but I don't think it was. That you had a listener that had a bucket list item to get a
Oh,
hug from you, and you made that
JD.
happen.
Yes. Oh my God, he's so sweet. And he calls me, maybe once a week or so. Hey, it's JD in Kalkaska, da da da. And then one day he made a request, and then he called me back a few minutes later, and he goes, I just want you to know one of my bucket list items is to get a hug from you. And I'm like, I am going to make that happen. I don't care how long it takes. And it did take a couple of weeks before I was going to be in Kalkaska. But when I was there, I called him up and I said, I'm going to be in town. Let me give you a hug. And I gave him a hat. And it was really cool. It
Yeah,
was
I thought
really
that was
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
You know, you do a lot of stuff kind of outside of your radio hat, if you will, right? And it's all positive stuff for the better of Northern Michigan. And I don't know. Uh, you seem, anytime I've talked to you, you're always super super humble, and I don't know that you realize the impact that that has on so many people, whether it be the meeting people at different events and making time for them, or whether it be the sidewalk chalk project that you do, and just that constant, like, God, what is the word I'm looking for? I don't. You're just like a gem to the community.
I
Uh,
really appreciate that. Some days I feel like like I'm not enough, like I'm never enough. But that's just I mean everybody feels like that sometimes, and
yeah,
I'm no different than anybody else. It's been last this week, and I don't know. Sometimes I get overwhelmed, and I forget that I do have a purpose and I have a passion, and I'm lucky and I'm blessed, and yeah. And if I can share that with people, that's what I'm going to do.
right. Well, and I think today, if I'm correct, 4,725 consecutive days of chalking.
I believe so because I'm going to sometime this year hit my 5,000th day. So I haven't mapped it out, but I hit my 5,000th sidewalk in December, which is
Right.
crazy because some days I chalk more than one a day. And then,
Hmm.
so that's how I hit that first. But yeah, it blows my mind. I will be starting my 14th year of chalking every single day at least one sidewalk with something positive.
Which was
And
supposed to be a Memorial Day to Labor Day
it was
thing.
supposed to be a 3 month, challenge to myself because I was in just the worst place I've ever been in my head. And I just needed to do something. I needed to do something to get out of it, and so I started that. And then when the 30 day or the 3 months was up, I was like, I'm going to see how far I can go. And then I made it to a year. Okay, I'm just going to see how far I can go. And then next thing I know, I'm celebrating 5 years, and then 10 years. And yeah, I'll never stop until I can't chalk anymore. I'm going to try to get out and chalk something positive every day.
Yeah.
It
No.
helps me.
Well,
It helps me.
and so much more than that, though. Like, I see the comments, and if you guys aren't following her, you need to jump on Facebook and follow Sidewalk Chalk Project. And
Actually am
you know,
on Instagram and TikTok now because what's so cool about TikTok, and I love this because they're just pictures. It's not me. I don't show myself chalking. It's just pictures of that day's chalk. But I set it to music, and sometimes the song is just the perfect song for the chalk I did that day. So if you get a chance, I can't remember what I'm on Tik, but if you find the link on my Facebook page,
yeah.
it's a
So
sidewalk chalk project. But
all the platforms, and I'll tell you what, I follow on TikTok, I follow on Facebook. I don't know if I follow on Instagram, because we just started our Instagram like 2 weeks ago, and I know it's like way more popular with artists and stuff, but I think I just got brainwashed to the Facebook way of doing things, and
me too.
Instagram is like, I'm in a foreign country and I'm like, I don't know if I belong here or not. you know
Yeah, I don't do as much on Instagram. It's just because I started on Facebook and it was just easier to keep posting it that way and then sharing it to Instagram. So I like, either way, I don't know, whatever, however I can get it out there so it can help somebody else. That's what I'm going to do.
Right. And it does. And you can see in the comments of how, certain days, somebody comes across that's having a bad day, and they'll comment and say, man, I needed this today more than you know. And that kind of stuff's huge, right? Jesse and I have talked. We talked at length with Bear Bailey about mental health issues and addiction and things like that. And we've talked about that uh, with other podcasts that we've done. And I don't feel like there can ever be enough talk about that,
Oh
uh,
no, I don't either.
because there's still a stigma. Now, granted, it's not as bad as when I was a kid, and I remember my mom going through it, and she tells me, and it's just gut wrenching that when she was diagnosed with depression and OCD by her doctor, she broke down and was afraid to tell my dad. She was convinced that if she told him, that he was going to divorce her,
Yeah.
because there was just such a bad stigma, back then, that's certainly gotten better, but it still exists.
Yeah, it
And
does.
until that stigma is entirely wiped out and it's viewed no differently, and I use this all the time, and I know people are probably like, we've heard that before, Matt, but until it's looked at like high blood pressure, diabetes, everyday health problems that every single person knows somebody dealing with, uh, then we've not done enough. Because at the same time that we know someone with diabetes, high blood pressure, whatever, every single one of us knows at least one person battling depression and mental illness of some kind.
Yeah.
And to pretend like we don't is a disservice to the people that we love and care about. And it's a disservice to ourselves, because just because I'm not dealing with depression right now at this moment doesn't mean that it can't smack me right in the face tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. And everybody needs to know that they're not alone. I mean, that was mine. I was scared, my kids are going to get taken away from me, or, whatever's going to happen. I don't know. But yeah, scared. But
Yeah,
now I can't imagine not talking about it, because if I can make somebody else who isn't talking about it understand that it's okay to talk about it, that's my thing.
right.
Okay, I'm sorry, my daughter's calling again.
Yep, no problem.
Okay, what's up?